In this video, we'll be talking about nesting and warp stabilizer. There are times in which you would need to nest a clip in your timeline. To do this, simply just right-click on the video and then select Nest. The most common time you would do this is if you were trying to add two different effects to a certain clip that Premiere won't allow you to do at the same time, like speed and warp stabilizer. So let's say I want to speed this clip up by 200% and then warp stabilize it. An error message comes up that says speed and warp stabilizer can't be used on the same clip. So an easy way to fix this is after you speed up your clip, go ahead and nest it and then add warp stabilizer to your clip, and now you can see that it's working. Nesting is also useful when you want to group together a bunch of videos and then edit or animate them as a whole. So like in this video, for example, I created a layout of a bunch of different videos, nested them all together, and then I was able to animate the nested clip, which affected all of the videos without having to animate them one at a time. And then at any time, if you want to see those clips, you can just double click on the nested clip and it opens up a new sequence where you can adjust anything within that sequence. Now, a few tips for using warp stabilizer. Warp stabilizer is a software that stabilizes your footage and makes it not look so shaky, but sometimes it works great and sometimes it doesn't work very well at all. Tip number one is to try to never have to rely on warp stabilizer. One of the things that frustrates me the most is when filmmakers say, oh, we'll fix it in post. Because sometimes it can work and sometimes it doesn't work. So never shoot shaky footage and think that it'll end up looking good when you use warp stabilizer. In fact, as I've gotten better at filmmaking, I found that I use warp stabilizer less and less because I try so much harder to get my footage smooth as I'm shooting. Tip number two is I found that the best parameters for warp stabilizer to work is to change it from subspace warp to position scale rotation, and then adjust the percentage anywhere from 3 to 7%. This is what's worked best for me, but each situation is different, so play around with those parameters a bit and see what works best for the clip that you're using. And tip number three is if warp stabilizer still isn't looking good, try nesting a clip and then using warp stabilizer at 1 to 2%, and then nest that clip and then warp stabilize that clip at 1 to 2%, and so on until it looks a little better. But that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.